Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. The morning show continues right now, and we are 21 minutes away from 9 o'clock. In studio with me is Dr. Sylvia Catus, Dean of the Faculty of Business and Entrepreneurship at Galen University. And shortly, we'll have another professor joining us via Zoom. But good morning to you, Carlos Sylvia.
Of course,
I know you're lying enough.
Ernesto.
Yeah.
Good morning, Ernesto. Good morning, Belize.
Well, we have a specific area we want to talk about, of course, your ServSafe certification, which has a lot to do with hospitality and all that, and we'll be getting into that. But first, a little bit about your area, Dean of Faculty and Business, and the program at Galen.
Yes, Ernesto, it's really always a pleasure to be here and also to share with you and to share with Belize about the programs that we have in the Faculty of Business and Entrepreneurship. We have 8 degree programs and 2 master's programs. In fact, the most recent one that I had come to talk with you about is our Master of Science in Economics. Master of Science in Economics. We're really excited about that. That's a program that we had a few years ago, and we ran it for about almost 10 years, and then we put a halt to it, and now we're reintroducing it. And of course, with an opportunity to revise it, to put in it some of the new and emerging topics.
You're bringing it back because you see there's more use for it.
There is definitely a need, both on the part of the market and both on the part of the corporations and labor, right?
What other programs you have under your
So
your
we
portfolio?
have what I call our super program. It's a bachelor's degree in business administration. And what's so great about that program, and it's unique really in Belize, in that we offer concentrations. So someone can graduate with a bachelor's in business administration with a concentration in, let's say, hospital and tourism, computer science, anthropology, criminal justice, all of the other areas that we offer. You can have a concentration in that program. So that's our super program. Of course, we have a regular marketing program. We have the hospitality and tourism program. We have an entrepreneurship program. We have a straight bachelor's in economics as well. We have an international business program. And we have an accounting program. We have both a bachelor's degree in accounting as well as a certificate program in accounting.
Yeah, that's quite an array, and all these are areas that we need expertise in. I think,
and not
in
to
our country.
mention our MBA program, Masters in Business Administration. I'm really proud to say that in the next 2 weeks, July 16th is our graduation, and we are graduating 15 Masters of Business Administration, and they come from all different sectors in Belize.
Yeah.
We have people from the port, we have people from Bowen and Bowen, many businesses.
That's a good point, because these are persons who are working and getting their degrees through Galen.
Further degree.
On their own time, basically.
On their own time, building their capacity, building their net worth.
Sounds interesting. So the flexibility of Galen is shown here. Joining us via Zoom is Dr. Tanya Rotzler. I hope I'm pronouncing that right.
That was great. Yes.
Okay.
Welcome. Thank you.
And where are you?
Right now I'm in Independence.
Independence. Oh boy. Okay.
Yes.
Well, welcome. I have here that you're Associate Professor, Coordinator, Hospitality and Tourism Management Program. And we are talking about some certification in an area in hospitality. Am I right?
Yes, absolutely. We're offering this Thursday and Friday the ServSafe certification program, which is focusing on food safety in all different areas. It covers many different subjects. There it is. Yes, the flyer. It's a industry recognized credential. And it's not just from the, honored in the United States. It's definitely been honored in all other countries as well. So
I think the title kind of speaks for itself. ServSafe. Is it about serving food safely?
Yes. ServSafe, and they actually have two programs. They have a food program, but they also have a safe alcohol serving program as well. But this is specifically on food safety in all different areas, and just identifying the main risks to food safety that I think a lot of people are not really familiar with, and discussing things like HACCP, hazard analysis critical control points, and how we can keep food safe from the very beginning of purchasing all the way through food production and service, and also cleaning and maintaining good, clean, and safe facilities as well. So it's a very comprehensive course and certification program.
Why is a course like this necessary? What risks am I taking when I buy food at a public establishment?
Oh, wow. I also teach hospitality law, and I could list all the legal cases that are out there with people that have, unfortunately, some have passed away or been severely injured. And so it's really just to keep people safe, your business safe, but most importantly, the people. I told my students before, the last thing you want to do is know that it was your fault that somebody was hospitalized or somebody was sick. So one of the most terrible cases was a woman that a food service worker made iced tea, sweetened iced tea with lye, which is a chemical cleaner, a degreaser, that kind of looks like sugar. And so they made this iced tea with this lye, and it was a chemical burner. And so she drank it down, and she completely destroyed her esophagus. It's just things like that, proper labeling and storing of chemicals. And there's just, it could go on and on and on.
So who should take this course?
Okay, certainly anybody that has anything to do with food service and production. So it could be a server in a restaurant. It could be a supervisor or a manager in food service, somebody that's managing employees that are working in food service, anybody in food production and processing. So it could be in the non-commercial segment as well, such as canning or bottling or any kind of those levels as well. So it could be commercial, where you're directly working with the public and serving them food or cooking them food, or anybody that's that works in actually making the food and selling it in a non-commercial environment.
It brings to my mind, and I want to ask the question: what are the standards in Belize? I mean, I asked about risks earlier, but how flexible are the standards, or how strict are the standards in this country?
Great question. And that's what we're still always trying to figure out, because some of these, I've actually never completely found the actual statistics of the foodborne illnesses and the different hospitalizations due to do anything, to have anything to do with food safety. And I think really, even in other parts of the world, people don't realize that they're sick from food. They don't go to the hospital, or if they are hospitalized, they're not tested for it. So as far as the food standards here, I don't. That's the thing, is there's not really any published standard document. I mean, I don't think a health inspector goes around and checks to make sure the chicken's been cooked to 165 degrees for 15 seconds to kill the, salmonella or campylobacter bacteria. So that's the idea of providing the certification, just to make people more aware, because I don't think there's that set standard for people to follow that guideline.
But at the same time, we are in the tourism industry, and we serve a lot of food to visitors who come from other countries. So you think there are standards that are basically established for the large hotels, restaurants that cater to foreigners, than there are for locals? So your course would, I think, they should be really interested in doing this. Those establishments that cater to the foreign clientele.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think there might be some larger resorts and properties that could possibly have had some kind of a food safety guideline in place, but we have so many different kinds of food service operations here in the country, and so this is really for people that feel like there's a gap in their food safety, and they want to have some kind of professional training and certification. So the course is available just to take the course and earn a certificate of completion, but then also the opportunity to earn the actual credential, the food safety credential.
So, who are you catering this course to? Who in your mind should attend?
Oh, wow. Again, anybody that's working in food service. So I think, people that have shown interest and I've talked to are really people that are sending their employees, the select employees that, okay, I'm the food service supervisor, but I want to send some select employees to come and take the course that could then come back and share the knowledge. So it could be a line worker, somebody that we would say the food server, the person who's cooking the food, or it could be the actual supervisor that decides to come. And it could be a restaurant. It could be even just people that are serving in a lounge or a bar, people working in any kind of food production, making food, bottling food, jarring food. It just really anybody that handles food that's going to be directly served to the public. That's the big thing. Anything that's going to go to the public. That's the target market right there.
Yeah. So anybody handling food, and I like you say that, because at the first, that's why I pointed out we have this tourism industry, and we may think that that's where the concern lies. We don't want to get anyone sick outside. They may, could lead to litigation. While inside the country, we buy food every day from restaurants and food handlers on a daily basis that need to know these, the topics that you're going to be looking at. And what are those subjects you'll be dealing with in the course?
Okay, absolutely. So what we really start off with is, discussing just overall hygiene and personal hygiene, which some of it might seem common sense, but some of it people don't really realize.
Wearing a net, for instance, wearing a net in the hair, things like that.
Net in the hair, but things such as, if you're busy and you wipe your sweat or something like with your bare hands, people don't realize that they could be a carrier of the staphylococcus bacteria, and that could pass on. Just anything as far as hand washing and proper hand washing to actually kill the bacteria that might be on there. And then the next step is actually getting into what we call the circle or the cycle of food, where we're look at purchasing safe food, receiving it, storing it properly, making sure we're maintaining proper temperatures, cooking the food, making sure the food is cooked properly, not cutting the fresh lettuce on the same cutting board as the raw chicken and so forth, cooking it.
See, I do that at home all the time.
Well, I have to say, this is the thing I laugh about all the time. When anybody I stay with, one of my Belizean friends, my husband, whatever it might be, they cook the beans in the day, leave it on the stove all day, all night. But as long as you just keep boiling it, here and there. And I thought to myself, that's something that, I still to this day won't eat beans that have been out all day.
But that's the way my grandmother did it. She would, you reboil the beans so but it seems to work.
It kills all the bacteria. Right. So we go through all of those kinds of things. And then we also talk about hazard analysis, critical control point. That's something that was developed by NASA. Science and space to keep the astronauts from getting sick in space, because clearly that wouldn't be a great thing. And that's been used in all kinds of food production and processing. And then talking about safe facilities and sanitizing and pest control and so forth. So it's comprehensive. It's definitely a big umbrella.
Once you prepare the food, can it be affected by the way it's served?
All the time, sure. Once it's prepared, if it's the biggest thing with the food service is the actual is the just the serving, the server of it. You know, that is, again, has their finger maybe on the side of the plate and you know, in the food or whatever it might be. It's things such as also ice. If you're getting ice out of a and making drinks with ice, and you see maybe a bartender or server that takes the glass and shoves it into the ice container to get the glass.
I didn't know I was living a risky life for so long.
But certainly that's it. And another thing that also addresses is self-service or like buffet style eating, because it's not just the food service worker. I mean, it's also the guests. You know, the guests could be coming through and getting food, and if things aren't marked properly, I mean, I've seen people look at different salad dressings and then they stick their finger in it and go, no, that's not right. Or, you know, if they're not labeled properly. So it's also managing the guests, and also has to do with food, excuse me, security and just threats as far as food terrorism. That's been another issue.
Deliberate tampering with the food. Yeah, that's a new thing. You must have nightmares at buffets.
No?
You must have nightmares when you go to a buffet. Some of them, I mean, you know.
Yeah, I just kind of, but it's terrible. I just kind of look at if they're fresh, and I mean, I've worked in a lot of food service operations as a manager. I've done tons of food catering, and so I can kind of tell if a buffet is, if it's being well maintained and it looks okay. But yes.
How does this fit in with the acceptance by the Ministry of Health? They have their own program and so on. How does that fit into that? Is it accepted, the certificate by the Ministry of Health?
That I'm not sure of. I don't know if Dr. Cattouse would know more about that. If
sure
it's accepted, you mean,
right?
Are we required to have? I'm not quite sure about that.
So I'd like to add here, if I may,
Sure.
that the Ministry of Health does have a unit that checks on restaurants, etc. But of course, it's understaffed. It's a work in process. They go in one day, and it's a certain way for a few weeks, and then it changes, or personnel changes, and so they do.
So they would welcome a program like this.
I'm sure they would, because they do make a good attempt at trying to keep, but it's difficult, and it's, you know, not a lot of people doing it. So I think that something like this is welcome. But more importantly as well is that this is an international certification. Guests and Belizeans who have traveled abroad, coming from any place, and they're familiar with the ServSafe certification, have a degree of comfort that whatever happens in this establishment will be not putting their health at risk.
Yeah, actually, it would be good for an establishment to have this certificate on their wall, showing we have standards.
And in fact, in parts of the world, places that do have it, they do have these certifications posted. So our hope is that once someone comes from an establishment and achieve this certification, the establishment would, you know, display it. It is really a plus. I want to say a couple of other things about the certification. First of all, we talked about the fact that the participants will get a Galen certificate as well. If they decide to take the ServSafe certification exam, they will become certified ServSafe.
Okay.
However, that is an extra $35. They can tell us that on the day they come, and we make that arrangement. The exam will be given by the ServSafe organization on the second day.
This is an internationally recognized certification.
And they will be giving the exam on the second day. So the workshop is on Thursday and Friday. from 10 to 3 p.m. And we said it at that
Where?
time.
At Galen?
It will be at the BIM or Galen Center, which is located at the BIM Institute in Belize City, which is BIM, of course, everyone knows, is near to the Healthcare Partners Hospital. We have set the time 10 to 3 for people who have to travel from either the Keys or from the districts. Gives them enough time to come in and go back out. The exam will be given on the afternoon of the second day if they're interested. I really encourage people to take it because once it's being given by ServSafe, it will be right there online with their device. But Dr. Rutzler will explain all that in the first day, and they will send, ServSafe will send their certification to them.
Okay.
Also, for businesses that are interested in sending more than one employee, we have discount for if there's more than 2 people from an establishment, we will give a 20% discount.
Does probably a resort in San Pedro or Placencia or somewhere else listening and saying, I do have a staff that needs, I would like them to get certified, but I can't move all of them. Would you do the reverse, like you do a consultancy
yes,
and go
course.
there and
Of course, we are planning to do that. In fact, not just with this program, but many of the programs that fall within our institute, the Galen Institute of Hospitality and Tourism. We can organize custom programs for specific properties, or we can get several properties in the same area together and have maybe 6, 7 employees and do the training.
Alrighty.
And the phone number, if anyone is interested in attending, they can call 608-3066. 608-3066. And they can speak directly with Dr. Rutzler. So whatever questions that they may have about the particular certification, they can ask her.
Okay. Anything I missed out, Dr. Rutzler, that you may want to add before we leave this morning? Yeah, you are. Did we cover the subject? Were we safe enough?
Yes. Absolutely. You pass.
All right. So Dr. Russell will be in Belize City.
Yes. She, in fact,
and that's this
she's
Friday?
Coming down tomorrow night. It's Thursday and Friday. This Thursday, July 6th and 7th, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m.
Wait, which Thursday and Friday?
This one right
this
here.
One right
yes,
here.
July 6th and 7th, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. It's $300. And if you decide to take the ServSafe charge $36 US. But Dr. Rutzler will give you all the information on that once you arrive.
All right, and then you can call 608-3066 to make contact and get your questions answered or facilitate how you can attend the ServSafe certification.
Exactly.
Thank you for coming in this morning.
Ernesto,
Doctor.
thank you. It's
always
a pleasure.
You're always welcome, Dr.
Always
Sylvia Catus, Dean of Faculty and Business and Entrepreneurship, and Dr. Tanya Rotzler, Associate Professor, Coordinator, Hospitality and the Tourism Management Program at Galen. Ladies, thank you. A pleasure this morning, this Tuesday morning. And if you are handling food, these are things that we need to. The world is getting bigger. More and more people are coming to our country, and there are standards, international standards, that eventually we will be forced to apply. To apply in our country. Not only in the food safety, but in other safeties. But at least this one is being handled right now by Galen University. Thanks again. And to all of you, wherever you are, I want to thank you for joining us this morning on The Morning Show. We'll be back tomorrow morning with another edition of our show. And thank you to Giovanni, our mass control operator. And we have Felix in the radio studio, our producer, Manuela. And to all of you, be kind to somebody today. Belize and beyond, thanks for choosing love. Bye-bye.
Good morning, baby.